F1 has been undergoing a rebirth in recent years thanks to a number of factors. It isn't just fans that are flocking to the greatest motorsport in the world though, it is racing team owners and manufacturers as well. Michael Andretti has been banging on the door of F1 all year, but Stefano Domenicali hasn't been interested in Andretti Autosport becoming the 11th team in Formula 1. Over the summer break though, there's been some huge news regarding the grid in 2026, so maybe that's made a difference to how he feels. Today, we'll talk about Andretti Autosport's entry into Formula 1 and how the news of a massive manufacturer joining the grid might shake up his chances. Let's get into it. Following growing frustration about his team's entry into Formula 1, Mario Andretti has admitted he does not know how the sport could turn them down. Andretti's bid to become the 11th team on the F1 grid has been a long and, as of yet, unsuccessful one. Mario Andretti took to Twitter in February to announce that his son Michael had filed the necessary paperwork with the FIA to become the newest team, but 6 months on and there is still no word on if it will become a reality. While both the FIA and F1 have been dragging their heels, the teams themselves have poured cold water on the expansion that would see a new constructor added to the sport for the first time since 2016. Toto Wolff in particular has been vocal in his objection to the Andretti brand joining the sport, arguing that given the current 10 teams will see a reduction of their prize money, the proposed 11th team would have to prove they can bring in more than what they take. That is something that Andretti believes they can do, and Mario Andretti has confessed he cannot see how the sport could say no considering the proposal they submitted. This week, Andretti Global unveiled plans to build a 755,000 square foot facility in Indiana, which they say will house their current teams and any future racing initiatives they take on. But despite the $200 million project, a Formula 1 team is not guaranteed. "We're on it. That's all I can tell you. We're on it every day," Mario Andretti told the media. "Nothing has stopped. The project continues. Everything continues as if we've been given the go-ahead. I don't know how they could turn us down at the end of the day with the commitment we have before them, for God's sakes." Unfortunately for Andretti, that new facility may be a wasted $200 million. Formula 1 CEO Stefano Domenicali has hinted that new constructors are not needed at the moment, adding that there have been no changes in the ongoing request for Andretti Global to enter the sport. Domenicali revealed that while Andretti have been public about their Formula 1 hopes, others have been inquiring in private about entering a new constructor, but added that the proposals in place for approving new entries are the same for everyone. "I think today, in the actual status of F1, it's not a problem of quantity, where we can see a step of increasing the value of F1, Domenicali told reporters when asked about Andretti's potential entry. "It is a matter of understanding really, not only the ones that have a bigger or louder voice, but there will be other people, because Andretti was quite vocal about his request. There are others that have done the same in a different way." There is one company that has managed to sway Domenicali though, and they've done so quietly as well. So maybe quietly was the right way into F1. But before we talk about that, let's just round up the latest updates on Andretti. In March, Michael Andretti said he was surprised by the frosty reception they've received, and it seems tempers are beginning to flare in the family as Mario Andretti hit out at Wolff on Twitter by responding to a tweet that the Mercedes man was too powerful for F1. Well, F1 boss Stefano Domenicali certainly doesn't seem to think that Toto is too powerful. He was drawn into responding to Andretti's tweets in a recent interview, and his quotes were surprising. "I do believe that Toto has a position of team principal, a position as a 33% shareholder of Mercedes. He has a reputation of winning 8 Constructors' Championships in a row, so his credibility, there is nothing to add," Domenicali said. Does any of that give him the right to decide who can and cannot compete in Formula 1 though? Surely that decision should be left to the people who manage the financials of the sport. The people who can actually create an informed opinion on whether or not a team joining the sport would be beneficial. Let us know your thoughts on that in the comments. Domenicali continued by saying, "Mario, I have known him very well for a long time, is trying to present his idea in a way that he thought is the right way to do. As you know, there is governance in place and the decision has to follow the protocol that is in place. And Mario is very vocal, Michael too. I have spoken with them quite often, as you would imagine, and we need to respect that while we may have differing opinions, at the end of the day, it is a matter of following the protocol and for someone to make the final decision. Today, I don't see a weakness in the number of teams in Formula 1. That is my opinion, the Italian concluded. You have to think that after reading this interview, Andretti's bid to join as a separate team is probably dead in the water. We're now 6 months on from when his bid was first announced, and the opinions we're hearing from the grid are not improving. Maybe what he should have done is attempt to join in the place of an existing team, as Audi have managed to do. That's right, the huge new team joining Formula 1 from 2026 is Audi. Markus Duesmann, chairman of the Audi board, said on Friday that the German car company had officially registered as a power unit manufacturer in F1. If you think about Le Mans, DTM and Formula E, we've always been very active and very successful. We want to continue this success story in F1, he said. Audi has not said if it will run its own team or simply supply engines. It is expected to take over from Sauber, which currently runs the Alfa Romeo team. Not that the Alfa team will be on the grid in 2026. Alfa Romeo will end their partnership with Sauber after next year's championship, the announcement coming in the wake of Audi's confirmation it will enter the sport in 2026. In a statement, the company said, Alfa Romeo communicates that its partnership with Sauber Motorsport will end within the end of 2023. Alfa Romeo announced its return in F1 in 2017 with a long-term plan, and in July 2020 has announced the decision to continue its partnership with Sauber also for 2023, given to the promising results of the first half of the season, both in terms of performances, marketing, and positive collaboration with the team. The timing of the Alfa Romeo announcement seems too perfect to be a coincidence. It came out just hours after Audi's announcement that they were entering the sport, almost as an attempt to steal attention away from the team. Audi is thought to be buying a 75% stake of the Swiss company Sauber that currently operates the Alfa Romeo team, leaving 25% to the current owner, Finn Rausing. It has been speculated that Alfa Romeo wanted to continue in the sport with the Sauber team, and were disappointed in the company's decision to sell the racing team. This does mean that unless Audi comes in as a title sponsor in 2024 and 2025, we might get a few years of seeing the Sauber name back on the grid. We will revisit this when there's more information to share, but for now, let's get back to the exciting news about Audi joining the sport. Duesmann said Audi's decision has been made because of the new rules that feature an increased electrical component in engines and fully sustainable fuels. F1 president Stefano Domenicali said, "This is a major moment for our sport that highlights the huge strength we have as a global platform that continues to grow. It is also a big recognition that our move to sustainably fueled hybrid engines in 2026 is a future solution for the automotive sector. We're all looking forward to seeing the Audi logo on the grid, and we'll be hearing further details from them on their plans in due course." Duesmann said the increased proportion of power from the hybrid part of the engine matched with Audi's decision to move towards being a fully electric manufacturer. He added that F1's budget cap, first introduced in 2021, makes it very attractive, and that F1's decision to go carbon neutral by 2030 was also key. In 2026, F1 will continue with 1.6-litre turbo hybrid engines, but will make significant changes from those used since 2014. The hybrid element will supply more than 50% of the overall power. The complicated MGU-H, which recovers energy from the turbo, will be abandoned and sustainable synthetic fuels will be used. These emit only the carbon taken out of the atmosphere to make them. Audi has been a huge name in motor racing for many years, and as a global brand brings everything to the sport that Toto Wolff-César Andretti is lacking. Audi is a name that fans from countries around the world will know, and we can't wait to see their car on the grid. Do you think this is the end of Andretti Autosport's entry to F1? And is Audi a good addition to the grid? Let us know what you think in the comments, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.